process everything. I'm almost scared to tell you guys. I also wanted to sort of address the emotional damage. Maybe I spoke too soon. I don't want to give up on Archer's voice. Hi book lovers, and welcome to a video you probably thought I would never film, but here I am. And I'm here because one of you so very kindly attacked me a little bit. And was I offended? Yes, because I'm a very sensitive soul. But was that person also right? Also yes. So here we are. We're all in this together now, High School Musical style. And what that person very kindly said to me is either to read Archer's voice or to unhaul it. And we don't unhaul books here. I mean, yes, we do sometimes, but not because I give up. And I don't want to give up on Archer's voice. Yes, I hate this cover, and this cover doesn't make me want to read it. You might say that sounds ridiculous, but it's just how my brain works. And also sometimes I work better when I get some pressure. So with that comment, I kind of got the pressure that I apparently needed to pick this up. And today's the day. Today's the day where we start reading this. So it's nighttime, I'm ready for bed. I'm going to start Archer's voice. I want to give you an update, or the first update rather, my first initial thoughts. I'm almost scared to tell you guys about them. I'm at chapter 10 and yeah. Do I love it so far? So far I don't really know why it's such a popular book, but maybe I do, because this was, I think, written 2014, 2016, and you know what was also popular there and what this reminds me of? Colleen Hoover. Actually never really talked about Colleen Hoover or her books before, it's just because I don't read them. I've read 3 in the past, really didn't like them and said, okay, this author isn't for me. I don't need to hate on her or anything. Also, if you love them, great. I also think that she definitely has talent. She got so many people into reading. For that alone, I think she needs praise, because that is an accomplishment. But yeah, she's not really for me. And one of the main reasons is that I don't love how she uses trauma or the bad thing that happened to you to characterize her characters. I understand that obviously that is part of you and it shapes you, all of that, but you're still more than what happened to you. And her characters have nothing else besides that trauma, and she used that to pull at your heartstrings and make them likable to you and all of that. But I'm you can't use a trauma to make up a whole character. They need more, That is still very surface level and not deep, even though it's supposed to be deep. And at the moment I have the similar feeling here, and I am scared to say that. But these are just my first thoughts, so it can still change, but I don't really have a 5-star feeling so far. And yeah, as I said, I don't know if it would be as popular if it would come out now, but maybe back then I can kind of see that, yeah, books like this were popular. And I also think that Sheridan is known for her characters having quite a bit of baggage, which again, it is not bad to have that. And it gives usually depth and background to the characters. I just don't like when it becomes the only and singular thing that makes up the character. But yeah, I'll obviously continue reading and update you guys on how this journey is gonna go. Okay, I'm 100 pages in now, and maybe I spoke too soon. This is actually turning out to be quite sweet. We also now in the next chapter get Archer's voice for the first time in present day. I'm so excited about, and also how the other chapter just ended. I'm I need to continue reading, and I like that feeling. So we'll see. Maybe this isn't so bad as I thought initially. So I'm slightly over halfway off the book, and I will say I like it a lot more than in my first update. It is very sweet. It has something that I don't love, but I don't really want to talk about it right now because it might still change, and like my first update, I don't want to be wrong again because, you know, this is my channel, I don't want to be wrong here. I feel like the only thing that I'm struggling a little bit with is, we were quite far into the book, but I don't know if I get the connection, to be honest. And also she just said that he's like her best friend, and I'm like, where does this come from? Like, yes, you've been hanging out and all of that, and I mean, both of these people have gone through traumatic things, like truly horrible things. So obviously there might be like some trauma bonding. It's a case of like, they are the ones that need each other right now. So I guess it comes from there, but I just don't really feel it through the pages. Like, I'm not falling in love with them, basically. So that is my main complaint about it, but I still really enjoy it. And the few things that I noted, I'll talk about later, if they won't get resolved anyway in the book. So yeah, just a quick little update from me that I am enjoying it. I've done it, guys. I finished Archer's Voice, and just for this accomplishment, this video already is such a success, but I had a day now to go through all my thoughts because there were quite a few of them. I had such a jump scare at the end that I had to process everything a little bit, and now we can have a little deep dive of the BookTok sensation, Archer's Voice by Sheridan. Let's start with my general feeling about this. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought it would. It is not like my new favorite book, but I definitely had lower expectations, which is crazy because this is a popular book. I don't know why, besides the cover, but anyway, this did surprise me in a good way, especially after like the first few chapters where I thought this would go into a direction I really wouldn't like, but that didn't happen, luckily. And I also see how this was popular like 10 years ago and how everyone loved this, because even though this is not quite like a Colleen Hoover book, like what I said at the beginning, it definitely falls into like that era, and I think what like people drew into reading and being a bit more dramatic maybe. So I see how it was popular back then. However, I don't think it would get the same hype if it would come out now, just because I feel like we evolved a lot, and I feel like there are other authors out now that can like deliver a very heartfelt story, a book with deep emotions that pulls at your heartstrings without giving us so much trauma. Like, there are other storytelling elements, there are other ways basically to relate to your reader and make them really care for your characters, besides giving them like everything awful that happens to these characters in here. So even though I would still recommend this, I feel like there are just other authors out now, for example like Abby Jimenez comes to mind, that kind of do it better when you want a book that like really pulls at your heartstrings. And another thing that I find very important when it comes to like romance books and what message they sort of deliver is that if these awful things happen to you, it's not going to be finding your love that will heal you. It is still work that you have to do yourself. And in these cases, I would say definitely therapy. I'm sorry, but there was like no mention at all that these characters would even consider therapy. And again, maybe like 10 years ago, it wasn't as common, so I get it. But I feel like a lot of books now also take that into account, and I don't love the whole trope. You just find the love of your life and all of a sudden you're fixed, or this other person fixes you, or you just needed the love of that other person to, you know, all of a sudden be healed. Like, healing is a long process, it takes a while, and obviously another person can spark that you want to change in you, but they're not going to do all that work for you. So that is definitely something I would criticize about this book, and something that I just generally I don't like. So that is like my main complaint, I think, about this book. I would also recommend this book to you if you really enjoy sort of like, I don't know, like picture perfect characters, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It just like some people don't really want to think about, oh, this is like a grey character, or they're doing something very stupid or mistakes. Even though that's very human, I understand that some people just don't want to read about them, like they want escape from reality and other shitty people, and you want your main characters basically to be just the good ones. This is definitely a book for you. I, however, really enjoy when the characters, you know, are faulty, and I usually tend to enjoy characters that others find a bit more annoying. So that's also something I personally don't love about this book, that they are so angelic and perfect and like really, really good people. And even though that's amazing, I want my characters to have a bit more of an edge. Then I also got the question about the heaviness of this book and that, you know, people cry at this book. So I also wanted to sort of address the emotional damage that this book could give you. And in my case, surprisingly enough, I don't really have any emotional damage from this. Like, I read this and I actually didn't cry. I think one thing is also that I alternated between reading and listening to the audiobook, and whenever I listen to the audiobook, I'm just not as invested usually. So if I maybe just stuck to the actual like physical reading of the book, maybe. I had a little jump scare that I also filmed where I thought, okay, if that's the ending, I feel like the cover also makes so much more sense, and I like already spiraled, had so many thoughts, but it was more or less just a jump scare. But that would have been the moment where I would have cried. I understand how people cry at this book, and it's definitely not a super light-hearted book. However, I feel like this focuses more about the healing part, and I don't find it as traumatizing as some of the books that are popular for that reason nowadays. But still, if you want just a super fluffy read, I wouldn't really say this is it, but I also wouldn't be scared because of like the things that happen in here to not read it. There's also spice actually in here. I would describe it more of like sweet spice, where it's not about just them banging, but like the connection they make, like more emotional spice, which I usually also quite enjoy. I just wasn't as invested in this couple. So I hope this helps a little bit whether you should pick it up or not if you're interested in this book at all and also haven't read it yet. So I'd probably say if it's already on your radar or you have it in your TBR card, yes, give it a try. If not, honestly, there's so many other amazing books out there that you don't have to read this. You're definitely not missing out on something where you're like, oh my god, this like changed the book world community. I feel like there are some books out now that you should just read because it kind of did change the BookTok world, or it's quite controversial, and you need to decide for yourself whether you're on the side where you love it or you hate it. Like Magnolia Parks, for example. But that's just my thoughts. I wanted to share them with you. I hope you got a bit more clarity on this, and also like, guys, finally read this book. Like, that is just, I mean, the main thing really that I want you to take away from this video. Not whether you should read it or not, or if this is worth the hype or not. No, it is that I read this. That's the amazing part. Rating wise, I'm still unsure. I'm between a 3.75 and a full 4-star. I feel like I could easily give this a 4-star and be like, yes, I see why it deserves a 4-star, but I don't think that my feelings of this book match a 4-star feeling. So I'll probably land on a 3.75. I think that's a good rating for this. And yeah, that's sort of my deep dive on this book, my final review of this BookTok sensation. So yeah, we can finally lay this to rest. I am so happy that this is not like bothering me anymore in terms of like just laughing at me from my TBR card. So yeah, all in all, a success, and I hope you enjoyed this little reading vlog as well. Definitely give this a like. Also, if you've read this or if you haven't, just give me your thoughts about Archer's Voice. I'm very interested because I definitely enjoyed the other comments that you had on Archer's Voice as well. So leave me that comment, like, subscribe for more bookish content, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!